Welcome to Progressive Mindset Podcast. My name is Natalie Potts, Business Development Coach and Mentor, and each week I'll be bringing an inspiring personal message to help you unlock creating and living a life full of energy, action, impact and happiness. I want to share with you a bit more around mental health today. Some of it's repeated, but as we know, repetition is the mother of all learning, which I keep saying recently, but it's true. And we need to start to destigmatize mental health. So I don't believe we're doing it enough. And people who have a voice and people who have confidence and people that have the platforms of their influencer, I think have a little bit of a responsibility to raise the profile on destigmatizing mental health. And that's that key word for me at the moment. So over the weekend, I was watching the documentaries around Caroline Flack and the one with Roman Kemp, where he shared about his friend Joe, the producer, who took his life last year. And as we know, back in last year, this time, Caroline Flack took her life as well. It was just after Valentine's, I think. I remember that. And it is about the fact that we still hold a stigma to mental health. That's my view. And when I say stigma, that means that we have a negative way of looking at it. We have an opinion of negativity in our attitude towards people that have mental health at times, and therefore sometimes our beliefs around that as well on that person. And that's wrong, and that's quite serious, and we need to adapt the way we look at it and change the perspective. So we all have mental health, right? That's absolutely for everybody. And we all have different points of a good mental health, I think. So often we hear this word that people are struggling, opposed to actually what we should be doing, which is thriving and reaching our full potential. So we need to shift and start talking about, how do we prevent it? How do we get people to get help? How do we embrace the fact that we should stop judging people, we should stop comparing ourselves, and we should stop expecting too much of ourselves at times? And there's a real difference and balance between really striving for something and going for your best and setting high goals compared to mental health, and the two are very separate. So I don't think you can draw an alignment almost from them when you're talking about somebody that's in a place of bad mental health, because somebody who's in a place of bad mental health just has what we call a tunnel vision. So I volunteer for Shout. I have done for the last 18 months. And I guess what was really interesting is that I seem to think I talk about it the whole time. And I seem to think, God, people must be bored of me talking about it. Yes, we know you work for, you volunteer for Shout. But then sometimes I talk to people that I think would know, and they've got no idea. And I think, wow, like I really need to talk about it more. I need to raise it more in platforms and what I do. So, because it's so important, and I'm so passionate about this, that it is. And I know that where I'm really confident is one of my strengths. I'm confident to have a voice. I'm confident for people to judge me if they want to, and let it go. And I'm resilient. Of course I've got feelings, and I will take some things personally, or I guess at times what I tend to do is someone might cast a view or an opinion or a judgment, and I would be quite annoyed, or I would be disappointed or upset. But I tend to have a resilience where I can change a perspective and get a bit of reality to a situation at times. So I've learned to let things go, and I've learned to change it into a positive or see a different way that works for me in terms of getting through. So I don't let it hold me back, because I really have this opinion that life is a gift, and that this isn't about being OTT positive, but life is, and we could have it taken away from us any moment in time. I could have my whole world changed within the next 5 minutes just with something happening to somebody that I absolutely adore and love in my life. So adore and love, I think the same word, right? So that could happen. So I changed to, and it's something you have to practice. It's not just that you can suddenly have gratitude for things. I think you have to have a real attitude of gratitude, comes in embracing the way you want to look at life and changing your perspective. But then you have to live and breathe that every day. You have to be grateful for the little things. And it isn't about the basics of writing 3 things down that you're grateful for every day. I started that a long, long time ago. And now I just have a different outlook and look at things and think, I'm lucky that I've got hot water. I'm lucky that I can be warm every day. I'm lucky that I wake up and I've got energy to enjoy the day and to get up within half an hour and be in and out of the out of the home and doing what I need to do within that short space of time, because nothing, in my health or the way I am is holding me back at the moment. So I'm not, I don't have a disability or anything that would make it take longer to get out. So I'm really grateful for the fact that I have my health and I have the mindset that I have and the drive that I have. And you can't just say you're going to do that overnight and change it like anything. You've got to change your thoughts. You have to, that changes your feelings, and then that changes the output, which is your actions. What causes mental health is, I've done a lot of research through my interest with Shout, and there's an array of different things. It isn't just that people are born with a deficiency. It's not what that's about. It's not, it's not necessarily genes. There's some saying that there might be areas in that. I think the important part is to actually look at, when you look at the Mental Health Foundation site, it shares about the impact is the wide range of social, economic, financial, family and emotional factors that interact with our biology. So there's so many potentials out there of things that can actually impact our mental health. I know environment can be a big one for me in terms of how I feel about things, and the people I'm surrounding myself with is an absolutely huge thing about how I feel about life. And it's like anything, isn't it? If you looking to lose weight, but you hang around with people that just eat crap, or or people that don't gym and things, like, you're not going to be in an attitude to want to do that. It's just natural because you get used to being around those people. If you're around people that have energy, that are aspiring, that dream big, that get out there, that push you to come out of your comfort zone, you're going to naturally follow suit and do that as well. So an environment is a big thing. And I was trying to think back to the first time when I was watching these over the weekend. And I was watching, like, Caroline, they took it back to when she was young, and the upbringing that she had in terms of what she liked, how she was with relationships, how she was with her relationship with herself, which is obviously one of the most important relationships we can have, is the one we have with ourselves. And she said about, that she often got very attached and, I guess, emotionally involved with guys. And she had an obsession with social media. And again, that goes back to this environment thing, isn't it? How we create our lives and what we allow to impact us and allow to be the viewpoint that we have and the window of the way that we see each day. And social media plays a big, big part in that. It's actually going back to, like, that, the comparison around food. Like, if you're going to surround yourself with people on Instagram that are just all dolled up every day and, stick thin because they look, they've been to gym every day and they look perfect, you're going to pull yourself down. So you have to change that. And they were sharing lots around with the Roman Kemp around the impact that it has on others when somebody takes their life. And I got into Shout because my own story was that I went through a period of time a couple of years ago now when I remember actually it seemed really insignificant, but I had some time off work because I was poorly, and I had an extra day off. And this sounds so insignificant, but I didn't ever have time off of work. And then the fact that I had that extra day, because I was like, I just don't want to go back here, I was a bit like, that's really weird. Like, I wouldn't ever have had that outlook in life of work. I love what I do. And I wouldn't, or at the time I was doing something different to coaching, but I wouldn't have wanted to not be at work. So I couldn't work out what it was, and I didn't really go into it much in thinking about it. And then a couple of weeks later, I was driving into work and I just felt so flat, and I was absolutely in floods of tears the whole way to work. And I remember just thinking, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I don't want to go in. I just don't. And I sat there numb at work when I got in, and everybody, it's like, I look back at it now and it's like everybody was talking at me, and it was like I was a shell, and I was looking at my body and sitting there, and I was like, come on. But there was just nothing coming through. So I can only describe that as numb. And I was just really upset. And I rang my best mate, or I texted my best mate and just said, I don't know what to do. Like, I've driven to work and I'm just in floods of tears, and I don't know what's wrong with me. And she was like, nah, like, you need to, and there must have been some things maybe in how we were talking the weeks before, I don't know, or maybe I shared that example of the work thing with her, and she was like, you just need some time off. you need to go to the doctors and see what they can do to help you. And it wasn't even a debate. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. And I literally put the phone down and rang the doctors and got an appointment. And oh no, I advised what they thought, and they said, we need to come and see you in a couple of days, but I suggest that you have some time off. So this was a Monday actually, and then they said, come and see us on a Friday, but we suggest you have some time off this week. And I was like, okay. So I went home. I said I had a migraine. Went home, and I guess the hard part was my parents were like, we don't know how to help you. We love you. This isn't for us to help. We don't know what to do. You can't leave work. You can't, all this stuff. We had a mortgage to pay and everything. So they were freaking out from that perspective. And yeah, I just didn't know what to do. And I guess I was tunnel visioned. I couldn't see outside of it. I had no energy or motivation for anything again, which wasn't me. And I just felt tired. Like I felt like nothing was going to bring me any joy or any, I don't want to say the word happiness, but it was almost like I was just not feeling happy. And I went to the doctors, and I sat opposite her again, and I knew this, I could see myself when I walked into the room, and I was just like, I just burst into tears. And I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. And she said, she was very compassionate, and she just said, look, you need some time off. I'm going to put it down as just exhaustion. Because sometimes I think I hear burnout bandied around a lot. And I think sometimes people just not use it, but they'll attach that label to it that, oh, you're just tired, you just need some time off. And I don't know, like she just said I was absolutely exhausted, and I was shattered. I was mentally drained, and I think I'd had a lot of change going on for work. I wasn't working long hours, but I'd had a year of a lot of change happening, and seeing some people go through change. And I was part of the facilitating that change. And that was a hard gig to see people go through a tough time. And that was my job. That's what I was paid to do. So I did it. And I guess I didn't believe in it probably. And that's probably what I found hard, because then that was against my values. And that's that I love what I do and I believe in things. And when I work in anything that isn't aligned to my values, I really, really struggle. So I guess on a reflection back, it was that I was being not forced, but I was having to do something that I didn't believe in. And I found that really hard. And seeing people off the back of that, going through a tough time and struggling was really hard. So that process of change, and then I had a shift in people that I was working with, and again I got some feedback at the time, which was, I look back and think, it was absolutely fair feedback, but I really struggled with that at the time. And it just kind of turned me the other way, like very much into myself, and I just didn't want to talk to people. And so I had some time off, and it was the best time ever. It was only a few weeks, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't a be all and end all, but it was enough for me to know that. Again, I think I used to look back and think, oh, that would never be me. I'd never have time off, and I'm really strong. And then I look back and think, but it's the best. I'd never regret that. Now I needed that time out, and the best part of it was that. A good few months later, I started thinking about I wanted to help others and give back and volunteer in some way. So I looked into Princess Trust. I was going to get interviewed to work with them. And then Shout just came about. So I remember seeing William and Kate talking about Shout, because their Royal Foundation Trust was giving some money towards the service. So Shout is a crisis service, and we are like Samaritans, we are like Mind. We've got about 2,000 volunteers, and what happens is you go through a process where you're trained. So it's an intense 6-week process to get you trained, and oh my goodness, like what you learn is phenomenal. And then I guess 3 months later I was trained, because it took a while to work out what I needed to do, and then apply, get references, all of that jazz, and pass everything. And then I was on the platform, and I've been volunteering for the last 18 months. And I give 2 to 4 hours. To be honest, you can do 24/7. So I tend to do later shifts because I get through more conversations, so I can help more people. I can do, because I'm level 7 now, I can do up to 5 people at a time, which I find manageable. I know what to do, and like anything, the more you do it, the easier it gets, right? So I can do that. I can not add emotion to it. which you have to do, and you have to be empathetic, and you have to be a good listener and a good communicator, and you have to go through the, what we're trained to do as the process, sort of certain ways of working with somebody. I went into it also because, like I said, I used to think that suicide was selfish. And I didn't like the fact that I saw that. I used to think, why would somebody do that and impact others? And I really, really struggled with the fact that I looked at it like that. And I just wanted to know how I could really help people to change their perspectives on mental health and see that you can, come out of these struggles and you can come through this. And I think that's the thing about really, like I've said, emphasizing, how do we prevent this? How do we prevent suicide being the only option for somebody? Because suicide isn't temporary. The problem is temporary, and people can help people get through the problems. People just need to know where to reach out and what they need help with. I guess some of the key themes that came through watching over the weekend for me with those 2 documentaries was about the burden they feel that they're going to give others just by sharing how they feel in the mental health moments they're going through in life. And the irony is, for me, is that if you take your life, the burden you have is 10 times anything of just sharing how you're feeling and people being able to help you. And there are people to listen. Interestingly, they shared on the Roman Kent one that 3/4 of the suicides are men, and in the minds of men, and they are less likely to seek help, and they have a tunnel vision. That's, again, this key thing that's coming through. It's like this fog around and you cannot see anything clearly. That's why when people say, sometimes they need proper help, and I mean proper help in terms of, going on medication and going to the doctor and seeking professional help. And there isn't any shame you should have in that. That's really important. I think it's actually more strength that you do that. And then other people need the help of somebody just listening. At Shout, and you can see these figures online, there we help people in that moment in time, and 86% say that it was helpful for them by reaching out. 55% said they didn't have anybody else to speak to. 55%. And 38% say that they haven't asked for help anywhere elsewhere. So it shows the importance of what we do here. And again, like I said, suicide is preventable. At the moment, mental health is still a choice for schools and businesses. Most businesses you see are doing a program around wellbeing and seeing its importance. I see it that you don't have an option but to do it in business. And I think that if you don't put the welfare of your colleagues and the people that you work with at the forefront of everything you do. And as much as I've said before, business is about relationships. So wellbeing, for me, I just don't understand why you wouldn't do that, and why you wouldn't want to understand and help people more and be kind and lead teams or lead people or lead yourself in a world where you care about those things. I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that. But we need to be able to listen more. We need to be able to stop saying stuff like be kind. We do need focus days, of course, to raise awareness and to educate people more. We do have to do that, but we have to live and breathe this, and we have to have people that are using the right platforms in the right way to get the message across that talking about your mental health is okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say you're okay, and I am okay. There isn't, people go, yeah, I'm fine. They might be fine. It's just that check-in. I do a lot of reading into around empathy, and there's emotional and cognitive empathy, and really, really interesting. And it's more about how there's an empathy that you get, so how somebody feels. And I very much feel this, that when you work with people and you see a shift in their behaviour, right down to you might have asked them or said good morning and they don't respond back to you, there may be something in that. There may not be, of course, but just go and check in. There may be a reason that somebody just hasn't got back to you, but go and check in. Just go and just ask them and just say, hey, buzz me back, And I do that to some friends, and they reply, and I'm sorry, I'm so busy. And I'm like, okay. And I'll just jump on the phone with them. Interestingly, I did a coaching course the other week on a CPD day, which is continual professional development, which I focus on in terms of my development. And it was around neuroscience and coaching. And that in there shared about kind of the way we have to have a healthy mind, you have to have 6 elements. One of the elements was play and connection, social connection. And I came away from that thinking, oh my goodness, like, I still don't have enough downtime. I work with my clients on how do you have downtime and where do you have it. And for me, myself, I'm absolutely rubbish at it. I definitely need to walk the walk on that one more. I found it hard to switch off and do downtime. And I had an action coming out of it that I was going to deliberately and consciously, intentionally planning time throughout the week and just ring people. So some of my car journeys might, to and from places, I'll just, I might listen to a podcast or to music points. And now I just ring friends. I'll speak. We said this with one friend every week. I was like, let's make sure we call each other every single week, and both do that, because they make a difference. The most common issues that occur in conversations that we have a shout is around like 34% is suicide, 34% is depression, again, high for anxiety and really high for relationships in terms of conversations as well. And what people are going through, and they share a lot around loneliness and self-harm too. But suicide, that's a staggering figure, isn't it? 34% talking through that. So checking in with someone is just key. Let's normalise chatting about how you feel. And it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to be okay. There is people out there for help. You've got your GP, that's often the biggest resource that you can use, or support instantly. Reach out to Shout, the Samaritan. Shout is 85258. You literally text Shout to 85258, and then someone will be there. We try and get all conversations with under like 3 minutes, but sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's higher, unfortunately. Obviously, as you can imagine, in the evenings it is really high. So yeah, we try and get on board with people as quick as problems, and as quick as possible, and we prioritise dependent on an algorithm on a message as well with what someone might have shared. It isn't a robot service. We are real people there, so just be patient as well, and rethink mental health. We need to change your perspective, and that's where I bring in this fact that we need to destigmatize that. We have to be strong in everything. We've just got to start talking about it more, and we've got to be open-minded. Talk to somebody you trust. That's really important, and be kind. And I think that just me sharing this, if I could help one person, well, that's a huge win for me. That's all I really worry about, is just helping somebody. If I helped someone, just know that today they're going to actually reach out and just share with someone that they feel a bit rubbish or they feel a bit flat. Even if they message me, then I've impacted someone in that day and made a change to the way they see their day and their life. And that for me, that's where I sometimes think it can feel a bit... selfish is a wrong word, but I think, like, how can I take so much from something where I'm helping some people that want to take their life? But why can't I see it as fulfilling that I'm helping people in that way? I'm doing something that's making a change to maybe not even their lives, to all the other people around them as well. They just don't know it. So that's all I want to do, is help people. And that's what I want to be known for. And that's what I'd want my legacy for. So that's my share today. I want to keep raising awareness. I want to keep talking about it. I want to destigmatize it, because I think we're going up and down in the world where 1 minute we talk about things and the next we won't. And, let's not, abuse is the wrong word, but let's not just let's work through it in the right way with things. Don't get thinking that we've got something, it's not you've got something wrong with you either if you feel a bit anxious. Just, it might not be the high levels of anxiety because you've got certain thoughts or feelings. Just break it down and talk to somebody and change the way you see it. But that's the biggest thing, is getting out there, is being empathetic and being kind. And probably the one skill you could really work on is listening. Like, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen more than we talk. So I think if you could go and take action, do one thing that's different today, is go and just watch yourself in a day. Observe what you do. Not saying go and change it straight away, but just watch how much do you jump in on everything that's everybody said versus just actually just listen and become aware of what's happening. And then maybe work on, now I'm going to deliberately listen more and then communicate off of the back of that, because often people just want their own voice to be heard, opposed to actually picking up off a conversation, asking great questions based on what they've actually heard. So Yeah, go and give that a go. Again, like you sharing this can really help others. If you help one person, then that's amazing, isn't it? So that's the goal and that's the aim. Go and watch those documentaries as well. I really recommend them. These people are doing amazing work out there. They're going talking with people that are looking into the science of everything, that are really trying to change the world and make some real progress with this. So share it, because you could help somebody just by doing that. If you're interested in working with Shout and being a volunteer, then reach out and have a look at their website as well. Because we'd be absolutely over the moon to get more volunteers, because it's a great service. And I'm loving doing it, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon, because I absolutely love it. So I'm working my way up through the ranks as time goes to get, have more conversations, helping people, and really just be on a platform as much as I can throughout the week to help people and help, service as well. So whatever you do, I'm not gonna do the old spiel actually where I say about my business and everything, because this is just different and I want to put it out there. So look, well, like I say normally, reach out to me if you need anything at all, and whatever you do, go and take action and have an amazing week. But most importantly today, have a great day.